Actually, being one of the biggest people pleasers I've ever known. This is actually something that I really had a hard time with, but I think I can help people out who are dealing with this too. The person that I am comes off as really contradicting because while I am a huge people pleaser, I'm also really independent in ways of like, I do what I want, I do what makes me happy. So I'm like constantly at war with myself. So it was kind of hard because it kind of played off like I was like being a rebel when I basically made my for sure decision to just leave my mom's house and not live a traditionally Middle Eastern lifestyle. First thing that I had to do was I had to accept being a disappointment. Now, like I said, I was a people pleaser, so that was the hardest part, but that is the key to being able to do this. For me, it was a little easy because I kind of had a lot of anger stacking up on my side. I lived a really difficult life with my mom. We're just naturally polar opposites. Not really somebody who thinks about, okay, well, what makes you happy? She kind of thinks a lot more about what makes her happy and what is beneficial to her image. So we had a rocky relationship because she would constantly try to enforce what she wanted. And after a certain point, I got really sick of it. And as somebody who still does love my mom, I'm not just like a rebel who hates my mom, right? I had to get to a point of being fed up and realize, hey, I don't want to reach a point where I actually start to have deep resentment where I want to cut you out of my life. So I had to work really hard to get her to a point of acceptance. I just kept doing whatever I wanted to do. Even if she would fight me about it, I had to just suck up all the confrontations every time, just head on. I would just do it again and again until she sort of started to like wear down and realize she just didn't have that power. And sometimes it would get hurtful. Like she would often try to guilt trip me and say, oh, you don't care about me, like you're selfish, I'm not your first priority. And I would say, yeah, you're absolutely right, you're not my first priority, this is my life. And then I'm not gonna lie, sometimes I would be kind of petty and I would ask her, okay, well, why did you have kids if you did not even consider this as a possibility? You already married a non-traditional man, why would you expect to have traditional kids? And I'm telling you, she goes nuts when I say things like that, but it works. I had to come to the realization that I had to accept either somebody was going to make my life decisions for me and I was going to get to a point of pure resentment, or I was just going to have to deal with a lot of conflict in the short term and get what I want and then actually be able to maintain a better relationship with her in the long run. And I'm not going to lie, I don't really think she's fully there, but I'm doing what I can. And I constantly remind her, hey, I was not the priority in your life. I mean, I've begged you to do things that were beneficial to me and my siblings, and you have repeatedly put your own comfort as your number one priority. I just keep saying those things. I say those things. I know they're mean. I know they're uncomfortable, but I'm telling you right now, nothing's gonna change if you're not willing to actually have uncomfortable conversations. Just like with moving, I just kept doing it. I just kept saying, well, it's gonna happen. You're gonna have to deal with it. You did the same thing to your parents for a man you didn't know. I accepted the responsibilities of becoming somebody who was a little bit more hyper independent, which did suck, but I had to do that and not ask for too much help. I hope this helps someone.